Hello guys, I'm back and I'm doing a post-game commentary now of a first-person view that I recorded. So a little different than what I was doing before. I'm no longer playing and recording at the same, or playing and commentating at the same time, because I feel like it's just really difficult for me to see to think clearly when I'm playing, because half the time I'm thinking about what I should do and all that stuff, and to say it out loud requires an extra step that sometimes it's not always easy. Anyways, so I'm playing a TV random on Steps of War, and this guy is, I don't know, it says random, and I just want to say this game, it was pretty, it wasn't that close, I don't think. It was pretty one-sided, but it was a good game overall. It showed some good concepts, such as the heavy macro build and things like that. Okay, anyways, so Steps of War, it's like Paranoid Android, and you spawn with your base right next to each other with a mineral patch, or just minerals behind in that island. This is really laggy on my video. Be right back. Oh, nope, it's not better. Okay, whatever, I think I'll just go with it. Okay, I'm going for my standard build. I always go for this build. I noticed, I saw some games posted by HD and Husky, and of their casting of some games, and Terran players, it seems like they say that every time they get gas really early, it means they're going Reapers or Factories or something like that. And I guess that's true, but I think that's necessary for almost every Terran, or actually it is necessary for every Terran build against every race, because unless you're going for mass Marines, you're gonna need gas, and you're gonna need it as soon as possible, because gas is mined so slowly here. So I always go for this gas refinery right when I have enough minerals after I lay down my barracks. You could not do it if you go for a fast expand, but I am not confident enough in the build to actually go for it, because I haven't ever done it, and I have no idea. I know that the little one does something like it. He did not 10 population supply, 12 population barracks, and then you build your command center as soon as possible after you get 400 minerals, and then once you finish your orbital command, you supply drop your one supply depot, so you don't get supply blocked. But that, I feel, is really risky if for example, you're playing, actually any race you're playing against. If Zerg, they could go for roaches. Terran, they could just send a few Reapers and you're done. Protoss, well, Protoss can do a lot of things. They can send air, they can just rush you, Dark Templars, anything like that, and it would be really hard to hold off. But anyways, back to this game. I was scouting, I scouted him, he's Terran. I think this is kind of late saying this, but whatever. And so I'm going for my build. My build for TVT is usually, I get 2 refineries as soon as possible. I get 1 factory, a starport with reactor, and then I start pumping out Vikings and tanks. It's effective if the opposing Terran player also goes for mech. If he goes for Marauders and Marines, then I don't build a starport at all. I just build another factory, and so I can pump out more tanks, and I pump out Marines for my 1 barracks. That is a good counter, just because your Marines, you need the Marines in the front to take the shots from the Marauders, and then the tanks can just demolish the army, because of the splash damage is so crazy in this game. I noticed, I scouted him early, and because he was random, so I wanted to know what race and what build to go for. But knowing that he was Terran, and I saw that he was getting his gas and throwing down the factory, I was confident in going for the starport build. Actually, did I see him? I don't think I even saw him drop down the factory. I just assumed, I guess. But more than likely, most Terran players will go for the mech build. It is a little, it's safer, and it's just I think it's just better. It's just like in StarCraft 1 where the TVT, they always immediately just go for mech. You get your, it's a Terran, tanks, Goliaths, and dropship build. Okay, anyways, back to the game. He did a Viking drop, or he dropped down his Viking, and I think he took down 3 SCVs. It's kind of annoying, but my Vikings pop out just after he starts running. Since I chose to put down the reactor, he did not. He just built 1 Viking. So his production's slower, and now I'm up 2 Vikings on him. But he did take out 2 SCVs or 3 SCVs and hurt my economy a little bit. But to make up for it, I mean, I already threw down my natural expansion. I've got it building up, and there's nothing you can do about it. I've got tanks, unless he has dropships and he drops on that ledge next to my natural, but I don't think so, just because if he did, I have control of the air. If he did, it would be a huge investment. I could just lift off, and there was lift off my command center, and he wouldn't do that much damage. So it wouldn't be a good investment. As for me, I know that for TVT it's really crucial to get as many expansions as possible, so I usually play very macro minded here. And he tries to do a harass with his Viking on my natural, but I hunt down his Viking again, so now he's already lost 2 Vikings and I haven't lost 1. So he's just cementing my control of the air, which is fantastic for me. I have no problem with it. Anyways, I've got my tanks here because I would realize if he broke that destroyable barrier and tried to hit my natural, but beyond that, if he tried to hit my natural through land, he'd have to go through the ramp, and so I put my tanks there in case he decides to attack. And beyond that, I think I'm relatively okay. He has spent a lot of resources on Vikings, which instead of tanks. So my 4 tanks, if I just hold off, I should be okay. Which right now I have no intention of attacking him. I'm just trying to hold up and build up my economy. So 4 tanks siege should be alright to hold off. Anyways, so I do a little harass on his economy, but I didn't realize he sieged a tank there, so I lost 1 Viking, kind of carelessly, but that's alright with me. He just delayed his expansion a little longer. Besides, I was up anyways. And if you see behind my mineral line, I built another command center. That's because first I had so many more minerals than I had gas. So in that sense, you can either build a lot of barracks and build marines to absorb damage shock, like the vanguard of your army again, or you could just expand and try to protect them. And so what I did was I knew that I had control of the air. I was constantly pumping out Vikings. My production was faster than his because I had a reactor, and since I knew I had more Vikings than he did, I felt safe in building that command center. And after it finishes the orbital command, I floated off to the hidden island expansion, because from there I could defend it by building missile turrets, and the only way he'd be able to attack is if he dropped, but he wouldn't be able to because I had control of the air, and hopefully I was trying to set up enough command centers that he couldn't do anything about it. And as you can also see, I moved 5 of my tanks to outside his natural, near that destroyable barrier, because I was planning on doing some harass, but I realized that I tried to snipe off his orbital command, but I wasn't close enough, and then I realized that it just wasn't a good investment if he did anything, because I had no other units than tanks, and tanks left unprotected are, even if they're sieged, are very vulnerable, and I just didn't want to take that chance of losing the bulk of my ground army. So I decided that it's probably wise to pull out soon. And I also feared he would try to break through the middle, the 2 destroyable rocks in the center. I didn't want him to go and flank me like that, or not flank, yeah, flank me. I didn't want to take that chance. I feel like it's really risky, and I've played a lot of TVTs on this map, and that is a common, it's very easy to just set up in that middle bridge or alleyway and with tanks and just set up a good stronghold. Anyways, I still set up my tanks outside his, not across that bridge, but near his second expansion, because I wanted to set a little contained, but I also wanted to delay his expansion if he was going to take one, because at this point I invested 400 minerals in a command center, which he could have spent on units. So undoubtedly he's going to be ahead in unit count, but I found it was still so since I expanded, I wanted to protect my expansion while denying his expansion, and that pays off in the end very quickly, because with Terran you can just drop down mules and just mine minerals really quickly without investing the STVs there. So that's what I tried to do. And as you can see, I also threw down a command center by the gold minerals, the extra, because as was part of my intention, I've also set up the mini contain. So that mini contain not only denies his second expansion, but also allows me to take more expansions, because with him out of it, with him not being able to move out and harass me, the only way he'd be able to send any of attack is if he broke the middle rocks, or if he sent Vikings and dropships and stuff and tried to harass me from different positions. But again, I have so many Vikings, and it would just be really difficult for him to try to drop from behind or anything like that. Anyways, you see I've got armories up. I've got 2 or 3. This is kind of laggy, so the frame rate's kind of low. But I've got I've got armories up, and I'm upgrading ground attack and ship attack. So I'm not really caring about the armor right now. I'm just trying to do more damage, especially because with Vikings and with a massive bulk, you destroy them faster if they do more damage than if they take less damage. And so here I hear him destroying the destroyable barrier, the rocks. I hear him attacking it, so I quickly move my tanks out and I set up siege. So I'm just waiting for him, because again, I'm way ahead in economy, so there's no reason I have to go and attack him. I just have to hold out, take the advantage, and then build up a large enough force to attack him. So it's up to him to attack me at this point, because I've got the economy advantage, and I don't think he even knows about it, because I'm sure that if he knew that I had 2 more expansions in him, one, he would get desperate and try to move in much quicker, or to destroy and harass them, or expand himself. And I'm getting in a huge Viking battle right here. And he's smart enough, he sent the drone, the point defense drone, which is very effective. It's very annoying. It just absorbs those rockets. Not as good as Dark Swarm, but good enough to really hamper my attacking capabilities. And as I was saying, if he knew that I had the expansions, he would try to expand much quicker. And if you notice, the expansion that he could safely take right now is the one on the 9 o'clock behind the rocks. And I keep scanning there because I just feel like I just don't want to take any what is it? I just don't want him to take. I want to be safe. And he's trying to do some more harass again, but I mean, he just doesn't have enough. I'm building Vikings, and if you notice, I threw down 2 more starboards because I am gonna mass up the Viking production. I also don't want to take the risk that he goes battlecruisers, although at the point I didn't think that he had the economy for it. But you never know. I have lost games where they randomly throw out a few battlecruisers, and I just didn't have enough to counter it. But with enough Vikings can easily defeat battlecruisers because of the long range and the faster movement, so you can just hit and run. The way to counter that is to build battlecruisers and Vikings, because then your Vikings could snipe the other Vikings while the Vikings only hit your battlecruisers. And I know that because some guy Terran I played against, I built battlecruisers, and he was calling me out because he was sniping off my battlecruisers, but then I figured out to build Vikings, and he was like, GG. Anyways, yeah, so I keep scanning that expansion because I wanted to see if he was going to expand there. And I see he built the command center, so I figured he was probably going to expand there soon. But even at that point, I have got 4 expansions, or 4 minerals.